The Mediterranean sun filtered through the curtains of their cabin, casting a golden glow across the room. Jenna sat on the edge of the bed, her fingers tracing the soft fabric of the emerald green dress she had chosen for the evening. She glanced at Carrie, who stood by the mirror, brushing her long golden hair. "Do you think it's too simple?" Jenna asked, holding up the dress. Carrie turned, her blue eyes sparkling as she smiled. "Jenna, you could wear a sack and still turn every head in the room." "Flatterer," Jenna teased, setting the dress down. She stood and crossed the room to Carrie, sliding her hands around her waist from behind. "And what about you? Have you decided what you're wearing?" Carrie leaned back into her embrace, her lips curving into a soft smile. "The white silk dress. The one you said makes me look like I stepped out of a dream." Jenna's lips brushed against Carrie's bare shoulder. "That's because you do. Every single time I look at you." Carrie laughed softly and turned in her arms, her golden hair cascading over her shoulders. "If you keep talking like that, we'll never make it to the captain's dinner." "Maybe that's the point," Jenna murmured, her lips hovering just above Carrie's. But Carrie, ever the voice of reason, playfully pushed her away. "We're going. I'm not missing a night of glamour just because my girlfriend has no self-control." Jenna sighed dramatically, but smiled as she stepped back. "Fine, but only because I want to show you off." By the time they stepped into the grand dining hall of the Celestial Queen, the ship's luxurious cruise liner, the evening was in full swing. The room was dazzling, with crystal chandeliers casting a warm glow over elegantly dressed passengers. A live band played soft jazz in the corner, and waiters weaved through the crowd with trays of champagne flutes. Jenna couldn't take her eyes off Carrie. Her white silk dress seemed to shimmer in the soft light, hugging her figure in all the right places, and flowing like water with each step she took. Her golden hair framed her face, and the faintest hint of blush warmed her cheeks. Jenna felt her heart skip a beat. "Stop staring," Carrie whispered as they made their way to their table. "I can't help it," Jenna replied. "You look like a goddess." Carrie rolled her eyes, but the smile tugging at her lips betrayed her pleasure. Throughout dinner, Jenna found it hard to focus on anything else. The food was exquisite, fresh seafood and Mediterranean flavors, but all she could taste was the sweetness of anticipation. Carrie caught her looking more than once, and each time, her cheeks flushed pink. At one point, Jenna reached across the table, brushing Carrie's hand with her fingertips. "You're driving me crazy," she whispered. Carrie laughed softly. "Good." As the evening progressed, the champagne flowed freely, and the room filled with laughter and the clinking of glasses. But for Jenna and Carrie, the world seemed to narrow to just the two of them. They barely noticed the other guests as they leaned closer, their conversations filled with teasing and quiet confessions. Then, it happened. Jenna reached for her glass of champagne, but in her eagerness, her hand knocked it over. The delicate crystal flute toppled, shattering on the polished floor. "Oh no," Carrie gasped, instinctively reaching out to steady Jenna's hand. "I'm so sorry," Jenna said, her cheeks flushing as a waiter hurried over to clean up the mess. Carrie chuckled, squeezing her hand. "You're cute when you're flustered." Jenna groaned. "Cute? I just made a scene in front of the entire room." "Trust me, no one noticed," Carrie reassured her. She leaned in, her voice dropping to a whisper. "Besides, I find your clumsiness endearing." Jenna couldn't help but laugh, the tension melting away. You're impossible. After dinner, they wandered onto the open deck. The night was calm, the air warm and tinged with the salty scent of the sea. The moon hung low in the sky, casting a silvery light over the water. Carrie stopped by the railing, closing her eyes as she let the breeze wash over her. Jenna came up behind her, wrapping her arms around Carrie's waist. "What are you thinking about?" she asked softly. Carrie smiled without opening her eyes. "About how lucky I am. About how perfect this moment is." Jenna turned her gently, cupping her face in her hands. "You're the one who makes it perfect." Their kiss was slow and tender, a quiet promise under the stars. But the heat that had simmered between them all evening was impossible to ignore. Jenna's hands slid down to Carrie's hips, pulling her closer. "Let's go back to our cabin," Carrie whispered against her lips. The moment the door closed behind them, Jenna pressed Carrie against it, her lips capturing hers in a fiery kiss. Her hands moved to the delicate straps of Carrie's dress, sliding them off her shoulders. The silk pooled at her feet, leaving her standing there like a vision. "You're breathtaking," Jenna murmured, her voice thick with desire. Carrie smiled, her hands tugging at Jenna's dress. "Your turn." The emerald green fabric joined the silk on the floor, and soon they were tangled together on the bed, their bodies illuminated by the soft glow of the bedside lamp. The world outside disappeared as they gave themselves to each other completely, the sound of the waves mingling with their quiet gasps and whispers. The morning light streamed through the curtains, waking Carrie first. She lay for a moment, watching Jenna sleep. Her short, dark hair was tousled, and a peaceful smile lingered on her lips. Carrie leaned over, brushing a kiss against her cheek. Jenna stirred, her eyes fluttering open. "Good morning," she murmured, her voice still heavy with sleep. Carrie smiled. "Good morning, love." As Jenna reached for her, pulling Carrie back into bed, they both knew one thing for certain. No matter where this journey took them, as long as they had each other, they were already home. As the ship sailed into the horizon, Jenna and Carrie stood together on the deck, their fingers entwined, the gentle sea breeze tousling Carrie's golden hair. They shared a quiet smile, their hearts full as they looked out at the endless ocean. Whatever awaited them beyond the journey, they knew one thing for certain. They had found something far greater than a destination. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe for more tales of love, adventure, and passion.